Welcome back to Woodro's World, everybody. I'm your host today. As always, I'm Woodro. We are back today with the Words with Woodro series inside of the Sat Chat map. We are back today with our second entry in FtRw. As one entertaining person that I found streaming live over on Twitch, and I was very happy with the type of content this man was creating, and there was absolutely no doubt I was going to invite him into this world, and we're with him today. So, sir, are you home?
Yeah, I'm in here.
Well, let me come on in and... Oh, he built a real apartment. It's a real apartment. Well, I mean, I don't have cars in my apartment, but, you know, there's a whole kitchen. Look. Dude, this is cool.
I like to spend my time here when I'm not building things.
Yeah. Just standing in my kitchen, sipping my coffee, pondering life.
Well, sometimes I tend to drive my factory cart into my kitchen, too.
It's gold on my screen. What color is it on your screen?
It's gold on my screen.
Oh,
destroyed it and placed it back down. So.
Okay. So it wasn't loading in for him, but you know. Yeah, this... Okay. Alright. Buggy flight. Frame drops like crazy. Oh, this is cool. I didn't even notice this. Little picture wall.
Yeah, I can't play any videos, but pretty to look at.
You know, it's somebody hasn't paid their bill for the apartment yet. You got the scrambled screen going on.
Okay. This is the channel between channels.
Yes. This is the I hope Dad doesn't catch me late at night. Well,
click in the ticker box.
Oh, look at the toilet. I dig it. Got a round base to sit on. Oh, that's cool with the sink.
Snowball on the sink, and thinking long and hard on how to do an actual toilet base. Wire just seemed to fit. Cable just seemed to fit.
That's awesome. I really like that. Interesting little detail. I should really just... Hold on. Just there. Now I can move.
Yeah, without rubber banding back and forth.
So, I assume this is your bed.
This is my bed, and don't be surprised if at some point you find extra leaves pillows. There's supposed to be 3 here, and 2 magically vanished while being placed, so...
Oh, nice.
They might be in another dimension with a bean, or in another apartment.
Yeah, you know, well, you'll have that sometimes. Oh, this is cool, man. I like this. When we move to update 8, this kitchen is gonna shine. I like the way this is gonna look right down here.
Yeah, didn't want to go crazy on lights or displays just because of how intense they are on the world.
Yeah.
And again, with so many other people that are going to be here, I wanted to leave as much memory on the world as possible.
Well, that's definitely appreciated, because I have had a sneak peek at the build after yours as well, and it's a lot going on too, so I definitely appreciate people being as mindful as possible. It definitely helps. You pulled off a lot here in this quite small space. This does seem very realistic.
That's what I want it to feel like, and that's my big thing with factory carts. It's very easy to judge scale when you're inside a factory cart versus when you're building. When you're just free building, your character, you know, you build a refinery, whatever it may be, it looks normal size, but then once you jump in a cart, you realize how large everything is within this game.
That's true. That's true. I always think about that with the beams, because you're like, oh, I need some small piece to fill in this, and then you pull the beam out. It's like, well, that's twice as big as I needed it to be, but okay.
Yeah, you slap it down, and you look at a normal beam next to the Pioneer. It's half the size of the Pioneer, and it looks like it's only the size of your shoe when you're placing it.
Yeah, no joke. So FtRw, how'd you get that? Where'd it come from?
So FtRw comes from back when I used to play a lot of first-person shooters, simply forced to reckon with.
Ah, okay.
Had a clan under the same name and kind of stuck Microsoft decided at one point to eat a old gamer tag I used to run, so this one was laying around waiting to be used, and here we are. It's stuck with me.
Okay, so before the FtRw, there was something else. All right. That's fair. I believe I know that one, but if anybody else wants to, I guess you just have to tune in to Twitch and ask them yourself. You know, drop in, say hi, and ask them questions. Well, I'm gonna leave it there. So, how long have you been making content? Hey, you say you had a clan. Were you a content clan then, or were you just strictly the gaming?
No, just strictly a gamer. And as far as content's concerned, June 8th, I think was when I started of this year. So just over 2 months at this point.
Relatively fresh to it. So strictly live streaming.
Right now, strictly Twitch, possibly YouTube in the future, whether it be videos or streaming over there. But right now, primarily focused at Twitch.
Oh, nice. Well, I know I've caught you over there. Well, that's how we met. I popped into your chat and just said, hey, and here we are today, right?
Yeah, and it's always appreciated when you pop in. I mean, that's why I stream. That's why I do what I do. I can share my experience. I have the hardware to do it. Why not share it? And if someone comes in and says, hi, guess what? We're going to hang out. We're going to BS. We're going to talk. We're going to chit chat. I'll answer questions about the game, whatever I can do. And I just like to have a good time over there.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, let's go over to the build, man. We've checked out your apartment. Let's check out the build. Yeah, little city.
It's just a small stain on the otherwise untouched landscape.
What made you go with this? Well, I mean, introduce us here. What are we looking at?
So, when the challenge arose, I kind of flipped through my head as to what we were going to build. A city instantly came to mind just because it would allow me to be creatively free, not be locked down by the game's normal mechanics of logistic management and item management. So a city was just a natural idea. As far as the shape of it, I like geometric shapes. I also like weird fighting angles. So obviously a circle came to mind. We encased it in a circle, a protected wall, if you will, with an open gateway, so not like it's actually that protected. But then really just went free will within the wall's confines and built whatever my heart desired at the moment I was building it.
This is cool. I like this. This little vending section. This is awesome.
Yeah, as you enter, you got a little shop that has, the world's wonders, the organic materials, which for some reason the market keeper decided that he wasn't going to show up today. And little bean over here likes to sell vehicles with an explorer that likes to act like it has hydraulics. A couple other things, some slugs for pets, if you will, rare materials, just everything the game has to offer.
This is
kind of on display.
This is so realistic. Like it feels like a real marketplace.
That's really what we aimed for when we put it together. When I say we, I mean me and Twitch chat. Was kind of as you entered a city, when you think post-apocalyptic or anything within the future sci-fi realm, when you first enter any type of city, there's some kind of marketplace, whether it be in shambles, whether it be professional aspect. There's always some kind of marketplace as you're entering the city or as you're exiting, because they're going to get you to buy stuff. Simple as that.
Yeah, that's awesome concept. Very, very true. Very, not only to the post-apocalyptic era, but I mean, even you go back, olden times, Rome, like that's one of the things that you've seen right there in the main walkways is all the market goods and that. So this is awesome.
Yeah, it kind of fit the space real well. And then one of the Twitch viewers, we were trying to decide how to fill up the center, and they made a suggestion of the Fix It Awesome shop, and the colors involved. That was another thing we got Switch chat involved with, was picking the colors for the actual build, as far as any lighting and the overall color scheme. So it was real nice to do it on the live stream and get chat involved as much as possible.
Oh, heck yeah, man. This is all about community. That's not only from your side of things, but, you know, with this series as well, man. That's all we're trying to do, is just spread that feeling of community and oneness, and the fact that you're pulling in, you know, inspiration for this build directly from the community. That's awesome. That's what this is all about, man. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, it was great to do. And everybody that came through the chat the week that I worked on it, they were super supportive of it. Everybody was real interested in it. Did a quick few tutorials on certain building aspects while doing it, but it was really refreshing that no one was like, why aren't you doing this at a perfect ratio? You know, it's just, that looks cool. How did you do that?
Yeah,
yeah. It was real nice.
Like this is awesome. I love this.
And the scale, that was another big thing, was getting the scale right to when you walked into, you know, the main course area, you felt as if you were in a large scale city without a bajillion buildings.
Oh yeah, and you definitely have pulled that off, having just the way they're even sized. Like, you start, you know, with the smaller, and as you walk in and as you increase your elevation, so do the heights of the buildings. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's just
scaling.
Try to keep your eyes moving. That was another reason with going with, you know, obscure angles, but also some round shapes in there, and just, it keeps your eye looking rather than just becoming stagnate on one spot.
Yeah, this is awesome. You gotta. This is similar to the one you have you were building when I came into your live, actually, I believe. No?
Yep. So this is actually a baby version of my aluminum plant that I built in my Update 7 world. The inside is not as complete as my Update 7 factory was.
Yeah.
But again, I really wanted to keep in mind that there's going to be more people within the challenge on the save, and didn't want to go as crazy as filling out all the interiors with super detail. And I figured it would have taken away from the overall aesthetic of, we're based on the city.
Yeah, fully understood. And that's, I mean, even being a not filled, it's still an extremely completed structure. It's gorgeous. I love the angles.
I do appreciate that, and that's one thing I try to work with, is getting strange angles that you wouldn't normally see within the game to work with each other. And this double triangle type of building worked out real well in my Update 7 world, and I said, you know what, this is the one that Woodro first saw when he saw me on Switch. I think it's only right that I pay homage to it and put it in here.
Oh, it's super fitting. I love the overlap on them too. That's incredible, man. Gorgeous build.
But I do have something for you here.
I think I'm gonna autosave. Hang on.
No problem.
Okay, where'd you go? Are you inside?
I am in the main concourse.
The main.
Sort of by the fountain.
Yep. All right.
So I have one of these for you.
Okay.
Now, that is a token for payment. I know it might say nuclear pasta, but it's definitely token for payment, because I like factory carts. I think factory carts are great. I think it's a great addition to the game, and it's a fun way to travel around and kind of see things.
Yeah.
So if you check out that way, there's actually a vending machine where you can get yourself a factory cart.
What?
Yep, so a one in, one out vending machine. If you walk up, there's signage to tell you how to utilize it, and yeah, you might be one of the lucky ones that get a golden cart.
Insert one nuclear pasta to rent a factory cart. 1% chance of a golden cart. Please return any unused carts to the product. This is. So I just go here and I drop a nuclear pasta into it.
Yep, so access the vending machine via normal access and feed it its pasta, and it'll give you a cart.
What? What? How did you?
So, nice little simple setup to give you, a little bit of wheeled transport if you don't want to use the feet that you were given.
That's incredible. Okay, I've not seen that in game.
Neither have I. I don't know if this is the first of its kind. I think it's going to be the first recorded of its kind. I know there's ways to do a lot of special little programming within game using splitters and trains and cars and factory carts and all kinds of things, but I've always wanted to do some sort of vending machine where you give it an item, it gives you an item back. And yeah, it's been achieved.
The fuck? That's awesome. That's incredible.
Now the fun part, if you feed it 4 times, it should give you 4 carts. So if you have friends, you could actually pay their way if you wish.
That's awesome. So it's all right. So say we didn't use the factory carts. What happens if you put the factory cart back in it?
It's just like returning it. So it's just like a city bike rental. If you don't need it, you give it back. It won't give you anything back out. If you had another pasta and needed the cart again, you can get your cart back. But just like a city bike rental, it just goes back into the pool.
Hold up. Gotta do this again. Nope, put that away. But just more for the God, look at it. That's incredible.
Seemed fitting for a city to have a quote-unquote city bike rental.
That's awesome. Hats off, my friend. That is new and I like it. I've not seen that. I was watching Blastroid make the game Battleship in his live, but a vending machine? What? What happens if you put something that's not a nuclear pasta in it?
It'll jam the machine, to be honest. Reason being is the one splitter that consumes your pasta is set to filter only pasta, so it will jam the machine. It'll probably just start sending factory carts out willy-nilly.
Okay, alright, yeah, we won't do that then.
Now, if there are a way that I can get it to deploy the cart, that would be even better, but I think this is pretty neat as it is. But that's why I put on there, one nuclear pasta, rather than saying one item, because it would just continuously send factory carts like a broken soda machine.
See, the capability of this type of thing, this is what drove me to Satisfactory. I mean, you said you used to have, you used to be more of a first-person shooter player. What brought you to Satisfactory?
So, kind of going away from first-person shooters and maturing a little bit and broadening my horizons with games, going into games like City Skylines, SimCity back when, it was still good. Games like that and FtRw. So I was a very large FtRw player. I'm very strong into logistics management and any game with trains, which this game piques my fancy with trains. Any game with trains hits a special spot. So Satisfactory launch trailer came out, the teaser trailer, and my jaw hit the floor, and I knew that this was going to be one of my most played games at that point. And since launch day, I've been putting time into this game, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't start playing until update 7, but I was very heavy into scrap mechanic at that time. Or no, it was update 5. Update 5.
Scrap's great as well, and it'd be nice to see certain mechanics that Scrap has, such as like bearings and things like that, make it into this game. But at the same time, this game is just so good on its own.
Yeah, it's Fresh and I were talking about that same thing, having logic gates, timers, bearings, auto switches that, could be programmed, like sensors. Like, it'd be real cool. You could do a lot more with trains if you had logic gates and sensors.
Oh yeah, and that's and on my my stream save that we're working on. We just got into using the priority power switch, and even that, like, that's a big step in that direction in my eyes. It just gives us so many more options with doing logic within this game.
So, this is obviously satellite dish, power substation over here. This is cool.
So originally I wanted to do a offset circle, a true typical satellite dish.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I started building it, it just wasn't working out the way I liked it. But the individual legs kind of made it look different and fit in with the whole fact that this city's not supposed to be something that you would see in the real world. It's made to be something that, just comes out of your imagination. So it definitely fit, and it kind of serves two purposes, either as a satellite dish for communications or as a receiver dish for, say, a Dyson sphere to receive power to power the city that we're in.
Okay. I sure was like, I was wondering how these power batteries fit. Yeah, I was wondering how they were fitting. No, I see it. Nice.
Although there is a controller that does blatantly say radar control on the back end of it. But yeah, it was one of those projects that, again, just using all the different angles that I can, utilizing beams under pillars, and just getting all these different legs or arms, if you will. It kind of worked out and kind of fit with the aesthetic of everything. So
I'm not gonna lie, flying in without having you watch you build this part of it, without having really seen it, flying in from the outside, it looked like a statue of an angel.
Really?
Yeah, because just
I could see it, the wings
of it. Yeah. Just from out there, not knowing for sure what it is, not having seen it being built, I was like, man, I don't know what it is, but it just gives that angelic vibe.
I had thought about doing a statue in the center, I say center square, in the center of the city, but kind of shied away from it. I think, keeping the center more plain or bland lends your eyes to move around the rest of it and see other things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I like the way you've got it. Got these little cabanas out here. What is this, like a little vacation resort, or is this a slums? People live here.
So it originally started as a slum project, hence the corrugated metal walls, corrugated metal roof.
Mm-hmm.
But upon laying out the walkways, it looked too resortish to be a slum area. So now we call it the high-end resort for the elite that may live within the city boundaries.
Yeah, I can see that. This definitely has that outdoor, I want to break away from concrete and window vibe.
Yeah,
I like this.
They got their little sailboat for exploring the pond over there, and they get to just come here and relax.
Oh, I didn't even notice the sailboat. I skimmed right over that, apparently. Ah, look at that. That's cool. That's cool, man. Nicely done. Very nicely.
Worked out better than I thought it would. Originally, we went with beams there, but it wasn't looking right using beams.
No.
So the pipes being round lended themselves real well to looking like flotation parts, so it worked out well.
That's awesome. That's a cool little detail. Like, you've got the little windows, the doors, but this is cool. This is what really draws in, like, this is one of the reasons why you're doing this.
The creativity, the using different items to make things that you wouldn't typically see within Satisfactory's world.
Yes. Oh, this is cool. Sluggo, the slum overlord.
Yeah, don't mind him. The slum area that this was going to be their place of praise, and I figure I'd still pay homage to him. So
that's funny. Where do we gotta go? Oh, is this the highway out?
Yeah, so this is going to be the roadway that does go throughout the entire world. We could either walk it, drive it, however you wish.
No, let's fly it. Oh, you know what? Nope. I see the area that we've got coming in front of us. Let's not fly it. Let's just walk real quick. Okay, let me stop flying. Oh, shoot!
Welcome to Factory Town.
City construction continues.
Yeah, so you figure you got a city with X amount of people living in it. They're going to need some place to work. And welcome to the concrete plant.
Did you actually get... Oh, got a working concrete plant going on over here. There is a factory, y'all. It's not just a city.
Yeah, I had to throw some kind of factory into it.
I say just a city like that's nothing.
Albeit a very inefficient factory, but I had to throw a factory into it.
Oh, that's cool. I like the belt for detail on the semi-trailer here.
I wish I could have done it on the bottom, to be honest, but it would have interfered with the truck, which at that point would have meant having to make custom wheels. And I think utilizing the truck as the wheels for the semi
that's cool.
Just made it pop.
Yep. Nope. I like that. That's cool. Very nice. Very nice. I like that. Those are what I work on in real life.
Semis?
Yeah, semis. Not these trailers anymore. I do more flatbed now, but...
Gotcha. That's the other thing, was the scale of that. Like, I needed to build that special blueprint that I used with the stacked walls, you know, immediately side by side so that we were able to get the proper spacing upon it. This way it wasn't so wide, it was in line with the truck's tires, but could also fill out the space and make it full without having to use a wall that overlapped.
That's cool. Did a good job on it. Looks great.
Yeah, in the concrete plant, you could see we did the same thing. There's just tons of interfering angles that, again, wouldn't normally line up in Satisfactory's world.
This is gonna look awesome on Showcase. I like how you just got bags of concrete laying around. Nice little detail touch there.
Yeah, it just went around and dropped a few things here and there. This is the actual concrete that it produces, and is all going to a sink.
Yeah, you'll have that.
And then still, to this day, one of my favorite things is that train line with the crane. I'm very happy with how that turned out. The whole city can, this is gonna sound weird, the whole city could burn to the desert. If the crane and train line stays, I'm happy.
Oh, this is cool. I like how you've got it suspended up here. That's awesome. Gives it really an extreme realism feel to it.
That's what we were shooting for, was just trying to make it feel real, but also be imaginative, you know, within that realm of possibility, but something that you still wouldn't necessarily technically see within the real world.
This is cool. I'm blown away with how real it. I mean, you've got metal pillars and frame pillars stacked to make that counterweight up there, and I mean, if just not knowing, you just give it a glance like that. That's awesome. Like that, like that's cool as shit.
Yeah, definitely something I'm going to play with in the future too, as far as an aesthetic is concerned in different playthroughs. Just because the game lent itself to it with the square boxiness of items and just how they work together. You mentioned the counterweight. Originally, there was no counterweight and it looked wrong, and I was scratching my head like, why does this not look right? And it was the counterweight. Threw the counterweight on and changed the entire feel of the crane.
Small details. I'll tell you, somebody who's got those small details locked is excited in Relion's Discord. He posts on Reddit and stuff. That dude's got
he's-
some serious detail.
He's the one that did the computer terminals for Raylan, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is cool. What's this area behind it?
So behind it, there's another factory. When we encompassed the walls, when we put the walls up, which was our first thing we did, we ended up pulling in, there was a copper node, an iron node, and a limestone node. And obviously the limestone node became the concrete plant. The copper node and iron node became another factory for workers that does a little bit of copper and iron work. And just again, another purely aesthetic factory, not super efficient, but filled out to look what you would expect to see in a factory, but still trying to be a little, give myself some freedom of imagination.
Gives the city a little bit more too.
Yeah, it adds a little bit of liveliness, a little bit of movement in what would have otherwise been a stagnant build.
Oh, I like the interior as well.
I worked hard on figuring out how to make the inside look busy, because yeah, the normal encase the belts within the beam, the pillars, and all that good stuff. But then I just went wild and started adding pipes everywhere, and that completely changed the feel of it, and I loved it. And we went with, you know, 2 different colors. We got a copper, and then the aluminum. I think I searched for galvanized for this gray color.
Oh,
And
so you were looking up hex codes for these things?
Yeah, that's what I do for all my colors, whether it be one of my actual playthroughs or something that I'm just doing creative. I'll just pull hex codes, make a list of hex codes, because then I can copy and paste them as needed to keep the color scheme the same throughout everything.
Nice. Well, it works very well in here. I like it. I like the angles. I like the pipes. I always see that's the type of thing that I found myself getting real in detail on when it come to scrap mechanic. Like I would just get so like, okay, well, what's missing here? Okay, we got to go steal these type of pipes so I can put it like so into it. I wish I would get that mindset in here.
I was the same way with this the whole time. I'm like, what can I add to give it a little bit of spice, but not overdo it? And it was difficult to find that balance. And in certain places, like certain things look more bland than others, certain things look more detailed than others. But I'm happy with the medium I found.
Yeah, like this right here is cool. It's not nothing over the top crazy, but just the extra little detail. Having the hypertube entrances on top to actually pull the airflow in with the visuals, like that's brilliant chef's kiss touch, man.
Yeah, be careful of those. If you go too close while flying, you tend to get stuck between textures, which is scary.
Got a completed semi over here.
Yeah, just once we blueprinted it, we kind of spotted it around to fill out some otherwise dead space. Would have really liked to design a truck to pull the trailer, but once I placed the actual truck in front of it, it looked fitting enough and made more sense for Satisfactory, because that's the truck you would drive.
Yeah, that makes more sense. It'd be like a dinky cab. You see these little guys popping around town, just little ones. So, like, obviously you had to have some music blasting when you were doing this, or you know, what kind of music was hitting the scales?
Definitely had music playing through Spotify the entire time. We were using a lot of music from other creators, if I can name Kibitz, Bits, and Total. I have a playlist set up with all of their copyright-free music that we use in stream. It sets the right mood. It's chill enough, but also fast enough that it's not going to put you to sleep, but it keeps your head bobbing, keeps your foot tapping, and keeps me working.
Absolutely, I understand that. So what do you, is music is that a big a creative juice flow for you, or you find yourself doing different things to get those juices flowing? I mean, like, where'd this city come from? Like, where'd that idea come from? Where'd the juices, where do they flow from?
Oh, man, I wish I had a straightforward answer, but it's kind of like, for me, it was, what do I want to build that I haven't done yet? So we threw down the ring, and then it was, all right, where do we start? It became, what would happen in a post-apocalyptic world is you'd have, you know, separation of different classes. So the city was set up in that format where you have the separation of different classes. You have your high end, you have your middle class, and you have your lower class, which is where the slums would have been. But you know, we know that turned into a resort area at this point. So we just like to pretend that they live underground now, which they do have their own tunnel that they can live in as well. But after that, it was, you know, how would the high end live? They'd live in very extravagant, oddly shaped buildings because they have the money and the workforce to throw at it. The middle class would be in a rather formal but simple shape, i.e. the skyscrapers on the left side of the city. And the lower class would live in shambles, which, being they don't live in the resort and they live in the tunnel, they live in a tunnel, you know? And it was just, what building would fit the area? How do we make it feel like there's a story behind it? And then we kind of just went crazy willy-nilly with building as much as we could within the city's confines without making it too intense on, you know, utilizing all the resources that a computer would allow you to have.
So far, man, this is incredible. Like, the angles used, the attention to detail is great. Like you said, without having to go so far as to clip it into oblivion. Like, this is incredible.
Yeah, there's some Z fighting around that, you know, you can't really avoid on certain shapes such as circles and whatnot. But just trying to give it that story that when you're walking through it or driving through it, you feel as if it's someplace that you could actually visit, that could actually exist in a, you know, imaginary world, not quite the real world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, that especially your lead into the market way. I mean, I imagine that in the real world. Maybe not so much today, but, you know, at one point.
Yeah, I can agree with that totally. At one point, or at one point again in the future when decides it's time to go back to the Stone Age.
Very true. That may be sooner than we think. So,
as scary as it sounds.
yeah, no joke. So clearly, gaming is a passion for you. Is this your hobby? Like, what other hobbies you got going on?
So outside of gaming, for me, mostly, I dabble in vehicles. I grew up around cars, grew up with performance vehicles, grew up with race cars and things like that in my life, and always turning wrenches. So for me, naturally, working on cars, modifying vehicles, that's going to be my outside hobby mostly, other than, you know, Twitch streaming at this point, because like I said, we've been streaming about 2.5 months, not even, just over 2 months, and the amount of love that I've received from creating content and just being able to hang out with people on Twitch, I think that's going to be my #1 hobby at this point.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's like the factory carts have decided to enter another dimension as well.
They're here for me, but this one is right here. It's just chilling.
I think if you jump in them, they'll reset and start doing their thing, if you're caring about seeing the doors open and close. They tend to get a little funky at times. They like to go to their own place.
Well, you know, you'll have that. Yeah, I have a world that I was doing racetracks on, and same thing, similar thing, but rather than tossing it up in the air to open the doors, I was programmed 3 or 4 of them to just drive back and forth and then use them as a tree, you know, drag race tree.
Oh, okay, yeah, light tree. I gotcha.
Yeah. What are these things?
Yeah, we had originally planned on putting a racetrack. Well, not quite a track, but like a dune race out here past this little bit of a city, but time forbode that, so.
Yeah, I seen that on the side of the screen there, question mark buggy race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when we first laid out the walls under, you know, what I would call this little resistance base here, there was that one little entrance through the rocks that goes outside, and I was like, man, if I could do a little buggy race that goes through there, that'd be awesome. But time caught up with me, and I was like, I'm not going to ask for more time. I want to get it back so you can get it to the next people, and I think there was enough here. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean you did a lot here. Like, it's a lot. I'm impressed with how much got done in the time frame given. Like, you knocked it out.
I'm still a little surprised at myself that, you know, we'd looked at the save files from when you sent it to me to when I sent it back. It was 53 hours that I was in the save, and I was, you know, all those hours are on stream, and I was shocked that this amount was able to be completed within 53 hours and look as complete as it does without having, you know, things overlapping, foundations where they're not supposed to be, and stuff like that. I was able to clean up as much of the measurement riffraff as I could.
You did a lot there, a lot in that time frame. This is incredible. So what's dream job look like for you? I mean, you say you've worked with cars a lot, and this itself is a passion as well. What's dream job look like?
So I'd have to say dream job for me would be custom vehicle shop.
Yeah.
Whether it be adding modifications to existing vehicles or building vehicles from a scratch standpoint, definitely custom vehicle work. If not something in the games industry, whether it be streaming, whether it be creation, whether it be game development, something within that industry. Right now, just kind of floating through on the job I currently have and enjoying it, but dream would definitely be some sort of somewhere I can let my creative juices flow, is the easiest way to put it. And whether that be customizing vehicles, building vehicles, or doing something within gaming, it kind of ticks all those boxes.
Oh, that's cool. I think I'm really, that was fucking corny, but I'm right there with you. Like,
No, nothing wrong with that.
it's vehicles, custom vehicles. I've always wanted to do fully custom vehicles. My brother was huge into engines. I was more body and interior. Like, it was always the dream for me growing up to, you know, have a shop, but instead I got roped into doing big truck mechanicking, so here we are.
It's a footstep. That's how you got to look at it. It puts you in the industry, and now it's all about where you take it. That's all.
That's very true. It's a good mind state to have with it.
Yeah, there's always another door opening ahead of you, you know, and even if the door behind you didn't close, that door ahead of you is still open. You just got to step the foot through it and see where it leads you. That's
fair. That's fair. That's a good outlook. If y'all are listening to this man's preaching over here. You got just
I've had
take what you
too
get
many
and keep
down
going.
times in my life that I need to have that positive outlook, and if I could help spread a positive outlook, and, you know, hence the streaming thing and being able to sit there and give some kind of entertainment enjoyment, I'm going to do my best to help people have the positive outlook too.
That's incredible. That's one thing I love about the Satisfactory community is there is minuscule amounts of actual toxicity.
Yes.
And I'm like you. I come from shoot 'em up world, and it is literally the exact opposite.
Oh yeah, yeah. You play any first person shooter, any third person, whatever it may be, whether it be a AAA title, an indie title, it's going to be a toxic environment. It's just what it is. But also, you look at other games that have the same kind of format as Satisfactory. There's some toxicity within those other games. This has got to be the one game, short of people that like to come in and, if you're clipping or making spaghetti, they like to throw you under the bus, which, in my eyes, I preach it on my stream. There's no wrong way to play Satisfactory. The wrong way to play Satisfactory is when you're not having fun. As long as you're having fun, you're playing it correctly, whether that be spaghetti or whether that be perfect angles.
That's true. I agree completely. Because I'm guilty of both.
Same.
I have my spaghetti factories, but then I have my ones that I took my time, and I mean, they may not look as good as the city does, but I mean, I put time into them and actually, efforts and whatnot, but...
I think the last day of the stream when I was building the last couple buildings and just going through, we did a very slow walkthrough of the city, and I said, I would love to see someone turn this into a functioning, fully, what's the word I'm looking for? Not fully functioning, but fully balanced, if you will, factory.
It'd be cool.
Like, use one building for constructors, another building for assemblers, and just have it be a perfectly balanced factory throughout the entire city. And I think that would look awesome. I don't have the patience to do it, but
Man,
I think it'd be cool.
And you've got plenty of room here inside these buildings too. I mean, you could do you could essentially do like my one save, which the world hasn't really seen. It's just a city over the grasslands, but it's one factory that does everything up to computers.
Oh, nice.
Computers heavy modular frames.
Yeah, I've seen city builds done before. Usually on a very, that's another thing, usually on a very city block scale, quoting Nilaus, if you will.
Yeah.
A very city block scale. And when planning this, when playing in my head the night before starting, was like, do I do a square city block city like Philadelphia or New York City or something? And it came down to, I want to do circles and odd angles. It's just...
Yeah, I feel that.
Blended them together, and it definitely turned out really cool. And I've been playing with a name in my head for it, and I thank you for the name inspiration. When you came in the first day, if we look down over top of the entrance, you said it looks like a fifth wheel receiver.
Yeah.
And somewhere in my head, I keep wanting to say fifth wheel faction or fifth wheel city or something like that. It just fit.
So yeah, fifth wheel city. Yeah, that's I can't believe that. I sure was like that one day. I was like, man, that relates to what I see. But also too, though, I kind of see another, which I may be wrong. I may just be making it up in my head, but there's a circular Star Wars symbol. I may be wrong, but it's something that we'd got as a back bling in Fortnite. I
will say the center, for some reason, kind of like if you look down the center from the gate area, over top the gate area, for some reason I think Millennium Falcon, and I don't know why, because the Falcon had a very, very squared center cutout, but...
Oh, okay.
If like this place were all filled in short of where the market is, almost Falcon-esque, but not completely.
I can see it. Yeah, I was facing the wrong way, but I can see it. Yeah. Man, I don't know. This thing is all over the place. You got so many different angles, and the geometry you've thrown in here. It's just a lot in one space, and it's incredible. I just can't believe that you got this much done in a week.
Yeah, that's what I really aimed for, and it was just to, again, draw the eye as many different ways as possible rather than just having, I keep saying stagnant and stale, but just having a structure. I wanted it to make it so you looked everywhere, and I think the angles definitely help, you know, offsetting the buildings from the angles of the market versus the angle of the curve. The trailer that's in the front here is at another different angle. Just trying to get all them together and make it so your brain just constantly goes, ooh, look at that, ooh, look at that, ooh, look at that, and it just keeps the interest alive.
I see, and it's incredible too because it's like it's more natural for the angles to be all over the place, yet it's not natural to have the angles.
Correct. Yeah. So, instead of being just on one XY plane, we went all over the place.
Yeah, this is cool. So what's your take on the current state of Satisfactory? I mean, U7 or U8, either way.
U8 needs a little help, but that's to be expected with a full in-game engine change. I have been streaming Update 8, and we're definitely starting to feel the woes of it being on the new engine. That being said, as of this week, we're supposed to see some sort of update. If it actually comes out, who knows? And if it's going to be a performance update, which fingers crossed for myself and my stream viewers that it is a performance update. Update 7, fantastic. Obviously, it runs like butter. It's been out for quite a while. But yeah, Update 8 needs a little bit of love. But again, growing pains. And I know Coffee Stain will fix it and will do right by its community because they always have.
So, I mean, I'm behind you here on this, but I gotta go and lead that into the very next question because I completely agree with you on everything you said. So you mentioned the devs. How do you? I mean, to me, they are one of the most community-driven development team that I've ever seen in a gaming community.
1000% agree. So I've never seen a game have the interaction from developers that this game does, and it's refreshing. And I'll go on record stating that all AAA developers can learn something from what was an indie studio when they created this game. They can learn very much on how to treat and interact with the community and how to listen to the community on how to make the game that their community is playing better. At the end of the day, a game developer is only as strong as its community, because without its community, the game would not sell. Therefore, the game developer would not be able to grow. And there's AAA titles out there that, they'll dump a game on you and then tell you, hey, we'll make it better in the next 2 to 3 years. A full game release should not follow that course. Hence why early access exists. And as hard as it is to believe, Satisfactory is still in early access, but is better than, I'd say, 90% of the AAA titles we've seen in the past 5 years. It's more filled out, and it's more stood behind.
I would agree with that. I would very much so agree with that.
The gaming climate has changed drastically, in my eyes, for the worse, since, I'm not old, but I'm a little older, but since I was a kid, the gaming community has really, not community, but the developer community has really changed for the worse, and I think it's really because of corporate greed. I understand things cost money to develop, and, you have to pay your developers, you have to pay the game studios, but at the end of the day, if you put out a quality product, people are going to pay, and people are going to continue to support you. There's really no need for the greed of microtransactions and things like that, and it really hurts the gaming landscape. You look at a game like this, Satisfactory. Is it a AAA title? I wouldn't say yes. Should it be? Absolutely. But there's no microtransactions, and the game still gets as much love as it got on day one.
Fair statement. That is a very, very, very fair statement, sir. I don't really have anything to add to it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I'll say it sucks. And not to bring another game into the fray, but we've been talking in my stream recently about GTA 6.
Yeah.
And in my honest opinion, I don't think GTA 6 is going to have the legs that everyone thinks it does, because GTA 5 already exists, and people have dumped thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars into their character. I don't think people are going to do that again. I think Rockstar is kind of betting on the fact that they will, but I don't think they're going to do that. And no, nothing against Rockstar. They made a very good corporate decision as far as a business sense, but as far as a community support sense, I don't stand behind their microtransactions. But their storylines are always good, so I'll always buy it for their story, but it's not the same as a game like this, and the community that this game has. And Jason Snoot, they've done so well as community managers. It's sad to see Jace go, but at the same time, I support Jace 100% on his endeavor. That was a hard decision and a hard step for him to make, but I think he's going to do great things. And Snoot's fantastic. Snoot's going to do a great job without Jace, and he's going to continue to do what him and Jace did.
I will agree. I kind of was hoping, I mean, I don't know why, but I had heard this little bit of a rumor a while back that he may be embarking to do something different, and I was like, really hope that that's not the case, at least until the game hits full release. Like,
It would
he's
have been
around
nice.
so long. Like, why would you?
I know.
Like, you're almost there, But I also understand, time.
Oh yeah,
Time has to be
100%.
right for everything. So if the time's right for him, then that's what you go do. And I wish him the best. I follow him on all of his socials. I give him the support, the free support for sure.
Oh yeah, and I think he's on record saying that, he feels comfortable stepping away as community manager at this point because of the state that the game has reached. And that leads back to what we were just talking about. This game feels like a full release. It feels like it's 100% done because there's so much to do.
Yeah. I'll give you that. Like, I really feel like at any point, just because, I mean, if you look at a game like Fortnite, they stay in early access just because they change the game so much. They change the base game. And they've already stated that Satisfactory won't have another map. Now, if there's another version of Satisfactory, or they do what, like, this is the game. This game is being developed as we play it. And, like back in the day, the game would just come out, and this is what you got. Okay, here it is. Play this. And then now, the way games are done, it's in my opinion, it's a lot better for them to stay in early access until they know it's the game that they want it to be. But also allowing the communities to play it through the whole time. That's the only way to know. I mean, to test it on all these different systems and get the feedback, that's the only way to know that the changes you're making are worth it. And I agree with them staying full the early access as long as they have. And I do look forward to the full release because I feel like there's going to be another game that comes behind this one. I feel like a new map. You don't even have to have different materials as far as I'm concerned, but a new map that gives people new places to build. I think that's going to, in its own, would warrant a Satisfactory or whatever, I think it'd be worth it.
I agree 100%. I know that, Jason Snoot and some of the developers are on record stating that we will not see another map for Satisfactory. This is the map. It is 100% handcrafted and it's polished with love, obviously. And it is a great map, and every update it gets better. And I don't think the game would benefit from a secondary map. Now, that being said, you know, a secondary official map, I think resources allocated towards another game is a better option for Coffee Stain. But that being said, there is a mod author that has created a full-blown new map. And that is something that Snoot's on record saying that, yes, modded maps will be supported. So for the people that, you know, have been on this map for 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 hours and are like, oh, I've seen this a million times, you have options. There are options out there. And I think now that, I believe, if I can mention his name, I think it's Arblaine that made the mod. Now that it's out there, it shows that it is possible. At the end of the day, it's an Unreal 5 map. So it's definitely something that can be done. It's just going to be the modding community that's going to have to do it.
Yeah, I can see that. But if you combine Satisfactory Plus with anything, like that changed all the interior of it. Like, so if they find a way to integrate a map pack along with Satisfactory Plus, I mean, you could just infinitely change the game, and they wouldn't even really need to put out another one. It wouldn't even need to be a Satisfactory 2. Just support all modding of it, and your game can infinitely be changed to the modding community's desires.
Yeah, I agree with that 1,000%. That's one of the things, like FtRw I mentioned. I play a lot of that game, and FtRw's mods, you know, there's so many mods for that game that just change the core concept behind it and make the game fresh every time. And the same thing is happening with, you know, Satisfactory. You have, like you said, Satisfactory Plus, or you throw in, you know, what I ran in my Update 7 world, Industrial Evolution, that changes all the recipes and makes it so you pull so many more resources out of the ground, so your logistics numbers that you're used to in vanilla Satisfactory are thrown out the window. You have to completely rethink all your logistics. It makes the game fresh again. And when the game feels stale, just do like I did and come build a city in the desert.
Yeah. Man, that's honestly what kicked this entire thing off for me. I was bored of doing any factory work. I was tired of laying belts. I didn't want to throw down another pipe. I was sick of machines. And I was like, I'm just going to build. And I created a statue of a green alienish orcish hand holding the hub in the air, just sticking up out of the ground. And the devs used it in one of the community highlights, I believe, and it sparked something else for me, and it's like,
that's honestly, for me, I have to say I'm super humbled. I never expected to be able to be a part of something like this. Like I said, I started creating content on June 8th, you know, just over 2 months ago, and I was just kind of playing around in my world and doing my thing, and you popped into the chat, and I think I gave you a little tour, and a little bit later you had mentioned it to me, and I was like, absolutely, you know, just send me the details, I'll think about it. And I never expected that within 2.5 months I'd be able to brainstorm something like this and actually put it into fruition. Because before my Update 7 world, the one that I was streaming, that you came in on, I built typical floating platform factories. I never really encased my buildings, but in that Update 7 world, I decided, hey, I'm going to start encasing my building. So we built that nice round power plant, the aluminum factory with the triangles, and after that, it's like, all right, what can I experiment with now to make crazy things? And even in my main stream save, we're still doing that. We're still taking it and trying to find weird, strange angles that I can get to fit together and put input in, like the 45-degree pillar. It's something that no one knew how to do, and then I did it one night on stream, and now people are starting to place their pillars at a perfect 45-degree turn as opposed to the 40 and 50-degree turn.
Yeah.
Just the little things, just putzing around trying to find out ways to do things differently, and here we are today.
And it's incredible when you come up with something that people want to use. Like I came up with that faux fabric weaving of the cables, but that's not really a desired design aspect. So I mean, it's cool if you're gonna like if you want to build an actual chain link fence look. You can use it for that type of weave pattern and make it actually look like a fence. Like, that's cool, but it's not something that people are gonna go around going, yeah, man, check out my chain link fence. But to go, man, check out this fucking build. The whole thing's at 45s everywhere. Like, I could see that being used a lot more.
Yeah, that's like we look at my space elevator build on my main save, and just me driving around on my train network. You know, building my nuclear plant that we're working on now. New people come into the stream and I go back to my main base, which is a floating factory, just because it's my starter base. I go there to grab materials and we go past my space elevator building, and but people just go, what is that? How did you do that? And I go, it's a circle, triangles, and an octagon. And it just, people's jaws hit the floor, and I'm like, all I did was build it. You know what I mean? And I'm always humbled by that, where people were like, this is awesome, how'd you do it, show me how to do it. I never expected any of it, and I still don't expect any of it, but I'm going to continue to stream, continue to show people what I can do, and be a goofball in my stream and have a good time with people.
Well, speaking of your stream, where can people find you?
Just on Twitch with FtRw. I don't know how to talk website lingo, so I guess it's twitch.com/FtRW, if you will. I stream there pretty much daily. We don't have a set schedule as far as the time is concerned, but it's usually in the evening on Eastern time, into late nights, and we do stream for quite a bit of time when I do stream. We've been known to pull 12, 14, 16-hour streams on the weekends, and good 8 to 10 hour streams during the week.
I'll say, I know I come in and give you crap every time I see that number in double digits.
That's again, never expected it, man. Like I said, I have the hardware to stream, and I have the internet capability to stream. I figured if I'm playing a game and I can do it, why not share my experience? And it's just been absolutely amazing, the amount of support and the amount of people that I see in there every day. And again, we go back to Satisfactory being a community of friendly helpfuls, and everybody that comes in there is just so happy to just see something different, see something new, see someone new building, and they enjoy their stay. At least I think they do. But at the end of the day, it was never one of those things where I'm like, I'm gonna shoot for affiliate. It just happened. It was never one of those things that I'm shooting for 20 viewers today. It just happens, and I absolutely love it. I can't believe it. You can tell I'm speechless. I can't believe that I'm able to do this. It makes me so happy.
Well, there's a reason you're able to do it, and I'm glad you're able to do it, because if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have met, wouldn't have been cool like we are, wouldn't have you doing this amazing build out here in the desert. And I want to personally just tell you right now, sir, thank you so very much for taking part in this series. Your touch on it is absolutely noticed, and I can't wait to see what types of builds you've got holding in the future.
I want to tell you, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity just to kind of be here and show off, and a little bit of a different style of building, if you will, and just being able to be a part of this, I keep saying challenge, but community event, and just being able to put my personal flavor into it.
Yeah, if it's a challenge, it's the only challenge to yourself, because the only winners is the entire community, and the only losers are the people who don't want to be around this game at all.
Yeah, I agree.
If anybody sees this, or if anybody grabs a hold of the file once the series is over, yeah, that's another thing. When the series is over, this file will be available in my Discord. So I'm hoping that with the different communities that I'm able to reach to, we get this spread around, enough information gets spread around with this, and people want this file, they can come grab it and take a look for themselves at the magnitude and the detail, and really get to appreciate what you guys are creating in this amazing series that has just blown my mind. That I'm so happy that people are wanting to be involved and are going to the links that you are of, you know, everybody's consideration towards one another. And like, I'm very thrilled. And again, thank you for being a part of it.
Yeah, man, most definitely. It was an absolute blast, and so happy we got to stream it and, you know, in Twitch chat and have fun with people, get people involved with, you know, choosing colors, building layouts, things like that. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I'd drop everything that I was doing on my normal streams to do it again in a heartbeat, because it was just too much fun. Too much fun.
I'm glad to hear it, my friend. Thank you so very much. Well, this has been an episode of Words with Woodro in the Sat Chat edition. I'm Woodro. That's FtRw. You can catch him over on Twitch. You can catch me right back here on YouTube. I want to say thank you to everyone watching and everyone involved. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other.